Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Brian Lambert here. I posted yesterday about doing a script tutorial, comic script writing tutorial, and I got enough interest to make it make sense. So here it is. It's pretty basic. I feel like it's pretty easy. I'm going to guide you through the steps that I use to create a script. I'm going to show you a sample one page, and then I will actually uh, write one page or maybe a little bit less of a script based off of the treatment that I have pending. So all the principles that I'm going to say here, you can definitely use regardless of program. This is specifically for Microsoft Word because it's what I work in. Again, you can use the principles in Google Docs, and basically any other program you're going to use. Celtics, Final Draft, what have you. All of it. The principles are the same. Some of the technicalities are different, but it's not really a big deal. I don't believe. So let's start obviously at the beginning. In the file here, in the description of this video, I'm going to add the file. I'm going to add a place where you can go download this Word file, and you can save it as a template. I use it obviously as a template as it is here. So in order to do that in Word, what I do is once I've downloaded the file, I go to Word, File, Save as Template. Super simple. Your templates, it'll take a second, but it cycles through your templates, and it brings up your template save page. Obviously, as you can see, my dial working here. The name that it has automatically is Spider, and it's in my templates folder. I obviously don't use Spider. It's already here, comic template 01. I'm going to not save this now, but like I said, comic template 01 right there, easy as pie, right here. So I'm going to cancel this out real quick. What you would do obviously is save it, name it the way you want it to, comic template, whatever, boom, easy. So the next time I would open up Word, okay, I need a new file. So we're going to open up new document or new document from template. New document from template. It's going to bring up this window here, and it has, usually it's going to be on featured, which gives you your blank document, welcome to Word, notes, all these other templates that are already in the program. There's a secondary tab here that says personal. Because you have just saved your template previously, it'll be in your personal tab. It's the first one I saved right there, so I would just comment template 01, create, and it pops right up. So this is slightly different than the one I showed you guys, but that's mine. So there it is. All right. So again, back to the comic writing template. I do things in phases, and I do have some brief directions here for you guys, or kind of instructions or guides. So you don't forget, I always do, comic writing template. That's where it comes in as the name. Obviously, you have written by, cover page, character. These are all things that'll be pretty easy for you and your artist to talk about. If you have the script name, which we're going to put in, you'll have who it's written by, your company. If you describe the cover page, that makes it easy so the artist knows, immediately what page it is. I always have my characters listed here, and at the end of my scripts, I have all the reference and the photos and things so that the artist can go back and cross-reference, just to make it very, very easy for them. As I begin to write, the next thing I do is, if you'll see my bar up here, I come over to the styles pane. The styles are right here, but I prefer to see it on the styles pane to the right. So I click on my styles pane and bring it up. So my styles pane is pretty lengthy, like all of yours will be, because we're listing all styles right here. I'm going to click on that and use styles currently in document, right? So it takes it down 100%. I've got clear formatting, comment dialogue, followed hyperlink, header, heading, hyperlink itself, manuscript, normal, and heading 2. When you're writing in this script template, you're really only going to be using comments, dialogue, headings, and normal. We're going to be using a little bit of bold as well, but that doesn't, I don't add a style for that. I don't see a purpose to it. Again, very, very, very simple. It's very easy. Don't overcomplicate it. Sometimes you think about things too hard, and and we make it more difficult than it needs to be. Don't do that. It's super simple. So heading is obviously your heading. And we'll go over this when we actually write the script itself. So don't be overly concerned. This is all normal formatting. We've got a little bit of bold here, which we'll add in. We're going to go to the second page, which would be our page 1 of our comic if we were actually writing it. Again, we have heading, and you always go by comic page, not the page that you're writing on. So obviously this is technically page 2 in the Word document, but that doesn't matter. It's still page 1 of your comic. So you go by comic page, not by the page you're writing on in your document. Obviously panel by panel, this is going to be normal style, and it says that here, you can see the description. Once we get into characters, obviously you're going to go into the comics dialogue style, and again, we're going to go over it, so don't worry about it. I'm just giving you a brief run through. You get your character name, we'll write in some dialogue. Character name again, write in some dialogue. We do the same for effects, even though effects are technically not a character, they are. So we're going to use the same style. Then we'll go to panel number 2. Again, same thing. It's very, very simple. Again, a couple notes here. Descriptions in panels are usually written in first person. So, Brian walked to the door to open it. Not, Brian walked to the door and opened it. So again, we're going to go over this, but it's something even I struggle with sometimes to continue and keep things in first person. Sometimes I forget, and it happens to the best of us. So don't overly judge yourself for it. It happens. As far as character goes, I see this happen like a lot of times in scripts that I've read. 3 lines of dialogue is kind of the industry standard. Obviously, you're going to bend that, one way or the one way or the other. Frank Miller is notorious for tons and tons of dialogue, but you don't want to put too much to where your comic becomes overly wordy or it fills up the panels. Remember, you've got art, you've got a display, you've got sound effects, you've got all these things going on, including your word bubbles. So just be cautious and conscious of that. Remember also that your artist, editor, and letterer will read your script, and so make it easy to understand. I know a lot of us go between international barriers in terms of social media and who we work with. So attempt at least to have a good working relationship with your artist, with your editor, and with your letterer, especially if their home language isn't the same as yours. You don't need to use really, really big words. You don't have to say the verisimilitudes of something. Just say the problems with something, cause this to happen. Again, don't be overly worried. Try and get it down to bare bones so that everybody can understand it. Remember, we want, from kids to adults to read this from, every country around the world. So we want to make it as easily readable as possible. Last note, and this is a me thing, description. So you do your panel descriptions, then you do your dialogue, and then last effect. If you stick to this style, it says, have a free time, easy time, editing, lettering, and coloring, making it through the process. I also add tons of photo reference and character sheets just to make it easy. If you have a certain look for your character and something that you want specifically, you've got to let your artist know. If they don't know, they can't do it. So just be communicative as possible, and try your best. Try your best to make the point. So, having said that, I'm going to bring up my sample script here, and I'm going to show you basically from script to page how it looks or how it's turned out. Thankfully, I've got a great team behind me because I know that it's definitely not all me. I previewed this picture without lettering the other day. It's from the first page of Justice issue 1. So I'll go, panel by panel, and kind of go through what we've got. So again, we've already done the cover page. They have all the reference and everything else that they need. So we're at page 1. If you see down here, obviously it's page 3. But again, you don't go by the page you're writing in the document. You go by the comic page. So page one, a news report. See, look, I need to do some editing myself. A news report looks very much like CNN broadcast. On one side, Cassius King, and that's my character, obviously. In the center is the reporter. On the other side is Derek Cannon, covering his mouth laughing. He's a resident superhero. He's in costume, but we can only see any of the characters from the waist up. So how do we do that on panel one? So he's covering his face here. He's kind of laughing. You've got Cassius King and you've got your report. Okay, works pretty well, I think. You have your dialogue starting left to right. You have Cassius King, and his is there. Then you have John the reporter. Then you have Derek Cannon. Again, it works the way it should. Also, because I added in the description that it looks like a CNN panel, my letterer went in and gave me a CNN looking panel. It looks great. Again, panel two, easy stuff. Same as above. So we know we're still in the interview. We've just changed some of the emotes that we're getting from Cassius King and from the reporter and from Derek Cannon. Cassius points finger at the screen, John looks down and shuffles papers, and Derek Cannon face palm. We've also got their dialogue. We've got two separate bubbles. Now, when you're doing two separate bubbles, you have to give the character two separate lines of dialogue. So Cassius King 1 there, and then we have Cassius King continue to let you know that it's a separate bubble. Then you have John speaking, again, left to right, in order of who says what. So let's see what we did here. Again, we got his first bubble up top. I didn't connect them or didn't have them connected because it really is two different lines of dialogue. We have the second one, and again, now we're on John. Panel 3, again, same as above. Make it very easy. You have John looking to the side. You have Derek Cannon smiling again. They're still reacting to what's going on here. You've got Cassius King, then you've got John, then you've got Cassius King again. Reason being is that you're having, at this point, we've just had kind of Cassius King speaking and John responding. Now we have a little bit more of a dialogue where there's a bit of back and forth at this moment. So again, let's see how we did. So left to right, top to bottom. Yep, we got it in, and we got Derek Cannon laughing in the back here. All his emotes there. That looks perfect to me. Then we've got panel 4. Same as above last time. John throws his hands up. Cassius King points to his temples. Derek Cannon walks off stage. We've got John saying something. Cassius King, John, and then Cassius again. Right? So this one's a little bit difficult, right? Because again, you go from top to bottom, left to right in reading order. So you go right to I don't see, and then back to Cassius King, then back to Cassius King again. Boom, and now we're there. Sometimes it's difficult to get your letterer and get everything in the panel the way you want it to. Obviously, again, you've got limited panel space with what's written there, with what needs to be there, and everything you've got going, and the art itself, because you've got to showcase that. That's another reason for trying to keep your lines of dialogue, under 3, and be as succinct as possible. Get in and get out and say what you need to, display everything, bounce back and forth. I think that pretty well displays the point we're kind of going for with regards to what we're doing. That you can easily go from panel to panel, page to page, and do it in a quick and efficient manner, in a very strategized and clean manner. So I'm going to bring back my empty document, move this stuff out of here. And what I have is a treatment for a script called Night Stalker. Well, excuse me, for the character Night Stalker. So we're going to go from the top. So I always have Wikipedia open or something. I you guys are probably like me, and I usually have a billion tabs going because I always keep reference documents. I'm always looking up some more information. I've told people that have reached out to me, Google is your best friend, and I really, really believe that. There's so much information at our fingertips. So I keep that open so that in the case that I don't know something, or that I need a piece, or I need some reference, or I don't understand how a character would look or how they would act, I can just, Wikipedia, Google, wherever I need to go in order to find it. So, all right, having said all of that, let's start from the top. So we've got our document open. It's got our styles here, like we've already done. I've got my Night Stalker Concrete Jungle script here. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller so I can kind of see it while I'm writing. Okay, so it's Night Stalker #1, titled Concrete Jungle. So again, we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're already in heading style. We're going to be in heading style because this is the heading. So you can either click it up here or click here. Heading style. So Night Stalker #1 - Concrete Jungle. Easy. Written by Brian J. Lambert. It's going to be copywritten for some really good friends of mine, a really, really great company. They've got a really great vision, some really great things they're going to be doing. They're a Concept Moon studio. They've got some really engaging characters. They did a couple actually, really good Concept Moon magazine, where they showcase a bunch of different talents, not just comics either. You've got some novel writing, you've got just a bunch of different pieces. Like I said, I really enjoy working with them. They do a lot of really, really good work. So I'm really kind of excited. You guys are seeing it as I do it. This is going to be page 1. I have no idea what I'm going to write yet specifically, but like I said, I have the treatment here. I've read it over, and I'm going to look at it. The cover page, we haven't talked about the cover page, and I don't believe that I'm going to need to write anything for that. So I'm going to leave the cover page piece blank for this particular script. Characters, I do know some of the characters, obviously. So let's go with our main character here. I'm actually going to take the bold off because we already have characters listed there. So we're going to go Night Stalker. We're going to go, as you can see on my left here, Riza. We got a guy apparently named Boots. We're going to go with Boots. Who else do we have here? We've got Jimmy Lee, looks like. Easy. Right? Okay. So, Jimmy Lee. And I'm going to take a guess and say we got a guy named Billy Lee as well. Right? So, again, make it easy for ourselves. Jimmy Lee and Billy Lee. I don't believe we'll need any more than that because we don't have any more principal characters. So we'll leave that there. I always leave out like the extras and stuff like that. I don't think that you need to add reference unless you have a specific list for an extra. So that's all we're going to need for characters. Again, cover page is blank because I won't be taking care of that. We've got going to be copywritten content in studios. And it's written by me. Okay. So, real quick, we'll go into the header here. And basically the same type of the script and everything. All this stuff to me is very self-explanatory. And I believe that you guys will easily take care of this. I don't think you're going to have a problem at all. Lambert. So now obviously the header will appear on every page, just to keep you solid. Okay, so we're at page 1. So page 1 panel. Let's look at what we have here. Concrete Jungle, streets of Metro City. So if it's Metro City, we already know It's a metropolis. That's why it's called Metro City. So we've kind of got the look in our head. We know our artist has the look, so we don't need to really go back and explain that. There will be references attached to the end of the document itself. Metro City 7 news helicopter hovers above the street, shining a spotlight down on two superhumans battling with the National Guard in the middle of downtown Metro City. Taking cover behind an overturned Army car. Overturned car, Army National Guard First Lieutenant Bryce Jimenez brings injured Department of Superhuman Affairs Special Agent Boots up to speed. Okay, so that's actually a lot of information in one paragraph if we really think about it, the way I do see they break down. By the fact that the light is shining, that tells us it's nighttime, or tells us it's at least dark. There would be no reason to shine your light in the middle of the day. So we've just learned that. So I would start on panel 1 again. I'm obviously going to delete everything that's here. I'm going to take off bold. Actually, I'm going to go from jump because I don't want to hinder you guys. So we've gone down into page 1, right? So we'll start out heading. Page 1. Enter. So now we're going to go into normal formatting because now we're going into the panel. Right? Panel 1. Okay? And we've already been given the description of it. But how do we want to make it look? Are we looking down? Are we looking up? What are we doing? My opinion is I would actually do a worm's eye view. Metro News 7 helicopter. Shine light down on to superhuman. Now we're going to put them in parentheses because we know who it is. Human. Battling the National Guard on the streets. So that kind of gives you, at that point, you know that the camera is at foot level with either Jimmy or Billy Lee. And you know it's going to be what I've just decided here also, it's going to be the biggest panel of the page, which it should be, right? Because you want not necessarily a splash page in this moment, but you do want a nice large panel that really displays the carnage that's going on. Enter. We're going to go into panel 2. Well, actually, I will do this. We would say, we go up to comic dialogue, and we would say no copy. What that means is that there's no dialogue on that panel. Now, depending on how your letterer works and how your artist works, you definitely might have some sound effects. But at the moment, there's no copy because no one's going to actually say anything. In that panel. Panel 2, what will I do? I'm gonna have Liza drag special agent Boots behind cover. Behind cover as the carnage continues, right? So we get that moment of her dragging, obviously, Special Agent Boots behind cover, so that you can see that it gives us that war-torn type feel of things are happening in the moment. There are things going on. So I'll say it's chaos. Chaos ensues around them. Oh, I forgot to do something. See? Man, okay. I'm still in comics dialogue, so I apologize for that. So after we put no copy here, we were still in comics dialogue. I should have come down to this panel instead, gone right back to normal. So I apologize for that. So now we're in normal again. Around them. Again, we're going to go comics dialogue. There's say no copy. We're going to go back in normal because we're going to another panel. Panel 3. Just a little side note, I'm a person that puts more than 5 panels on a page dependent. Something like this where you have a large panel, no, definitely not. You're going to top out between 3 and 5. But depending on your story and depending on your flow, you can definitely put more than 5 panels on a page. But again, don't do that as the only means of telling your story. Make sure that you're giving your artist the time to develop the pictures and develop their storytelling as well. Make sure you're at the end of the day, you want to be telling the best story, and that's the most important part of it. So if you're using 3 panels per page, 5 panels, 6, I've gone up to I think 7 is probably the top. But those are real small panels and it's real choppy, and there's a reason for it. Just make sure you have a reason for everything you do. Okay, so back to the script. So we're on panel 3 now. So now we've got to have Boots and Rise to have this conversation. So this is a pretty lengthy conversation. Blackhawk just made an emergency landing at Hammer Springs. Engine failure. The good news is all civilians medical evacuation are okay. Bad news is, that was my last word. As becomes the sun things over there, shot the other one. So you and I are on our own until back shows. Boots holding his ankle, correct. Lieutenant Rex Sullivan, vote something. Okay. Let me get to the description. So, how would I do this? Okay, I know how to do it. I would say, Boots holds his ankle in pain. Look over, because we're gonna. So I would just give the description of what the two are doing, because you're gonna tell everything else. You don't have to say that he's responding to her, or so it's a little bit different in prose than in treatments. So in the treatment, yeah, I need to know that. But once you get into the actual nuts and bolts of things happening at the moment, you don't have to put that in there, which I'm thankful for. It saves me a little bit of time. And when I get a good treatment like this, it makes it easy, because then I already know what's happening, so then I can write the dialogue a certain way. So I actually believe this page is only going to have 4 panels, just because of the way I've decided to end it now. So we're going to go back into character, our comic dialogue. I apologize. So we're going to put Riza. It's going to be our first real dialogue on the page. So, okay, so now you have her name, and you have the semicolon. So all you have to do now is push tab, and it puts it over in the correct category for you. So if you're on the comic dialogue format and the style, it places your dialogue indented where it needs to be, and you'll see as I write the next set of pieces. So you say Blackhawk made an emergency landing at Fort Hammer Springs. Medical staff and civilians are save. But I'm actually going to give her a second line of dialogue because in my mind I would want it to be two connected bubbles, not the same one, because it's two kind of separate thoughts. So I would give her a second one and say, continue. Let's just grab the shape. Actually, I'll do three. Oh man, that's good. I'll get the cover, isn't you? Okay, then just continue. And again, the reason being that I want it to be now three interconnected bubbles. That means is that we're on our home with the home. Oh, I have to process it. I don't know how to write. Look at that. Back up. So remember that Boots is holding it to his ankle. He's going to respond to Ryza, and so he gets Boots. He only gets one line obviously here. Actually, call himself. Ooh, see, we're gonna do something else here because I'm that kind of guy. I do stuff on the fly here. So we're gonna go back into normal. So we're gonna go into panel 4. Panel 4, right? We're gonna do a small inset panel. Small inset panel. Because I want that panel to be kind of inside the last one, because small inset panel, Ryza, gives Boots the side. Right? Because she's just told him some really important information, and then he corrects her on something stupid and small that no one cares about. So obviously she's going to look at him funny. So great. Boom. Small inset. We're going to go to the next one, and when it's time to forget comics dialogue, we're going to say no copy because I don't want her to say anything. She just gives the look. I think that's perfect. So back to normal again, to panel 5. And so this is where I'm going to do a little bit of exposition about the two guys. So we're going to say Jimmy Lee and Billy Lee. We're going to say, nah, you know what? We're going to have a front-facing angle. Jimmy Lee and Billy Lee. They are causing carnage and displaying their powers just a little bit, right? Because we're going to actually show what their powers. Their powers. So now we're going to go again here, and we're going to go to comics dialogue, and I'm going to say Boots. And then I'm going to say off panel. Or no, maybe let's say narrative. No, so the reason I'm saying Boots caption is so that you know Boots himself is talking, but he's not going to be seen anywhere on the page. It also lets your letterer know that it's a caption box. It's not your regular speech bubble or thought balloon. Excuse me, backwards. Speech balloon or thought bubble. Apologies. So what do we have here? We have really big long turns. Really big hydro. How would I say that? We just want to call him a water bender. Billy Big Guns Burns. Oh, let's do it the same way. Hydro here. Again. Neat things. Yeah, so there we go. Boom. So honestly, pretty simple. You don't need to be again overly worried or anything else. Sometimes tearing some of these things down helps a little bit. So now that we've got our first page kind of finished, copy-wise, we're going to go back and do just a little bit of cleanup. So I go back and I make all of my panels bold so that we know that this is a panel description coming up. Super long, but make it easier on the eye. And little things, rise up. Okay, I'm not going to rise up my word dictionary because that's necessary, but otherwise we're good. So largest panel page. We've got 5 panels here. We've said everything that we wanted to say there. We've got to go back and forth between the characters. Again, we've covered, page 1 has covered the first 1, 2, 3 technically characters. So we're going to go into, I'm going to start page 2 just to get us going. So we're at the end of page 1 here. We're going to put a page break in. Boom, page 2, right? So remember, don't forget, we go in the heading. Page 2. Are we writing numbers or are we doing that? We're going to go with numbers because numbers are easier for me. That's okay. That way, it's what it is. I'm a writer. So page 2. So now enter again, and we're back at normal. So we're going to go panel 1. What I want to do here is, so Agent Jimenez cuts, Lieutenant Jimenez cuts Agent Boots off with a look. So I want to kind of redo this side-eye thing that we did before, but just like a little bit better. Not a little bit better, just with a little bit more emphasis is what I should say. So what we're going to do is say here, focus on Liza, and focus on Liza. She looks at Boots angrily and exasperated. Let me put exasperated. I should know this, right? Before I use the word. I don't want to say exasperated anymore. I don't want to say it's stupid. I'm not saying it. Exasperated. Score. Then we could say debris flies over their heads as they cover. Right, so it gives you, again, it gives you that war-torn feel, but it also gives you that moment of like, not like, but no, it's levity. You know, you get that moment of someone saying something stupid and you have the other person calling them out on it. It's amazing. It works to amazing effect in movies and in books. So we have that. So we'll have that here. Obviously, the next thing we'll be doing is adding in dialogue. I'm not going to continue because obviously this a project that Concept Moon really loves, really wants to put some time and attention into, and I'm not going to reveal all of their secrets early and all that we're working on. I believe this, I don't want to call it brief anymore because I've been talking for a while now, but I believe this is a brief walkthrough of how to create a script, what to do. This Word document, this template will be, like I said, in the comments. No, sorry, in the description of the video. I'll also try to add it in the comments when I post it on Facebook so that you guys have it handy and readily available there. Again, it should be self-explanatory. If you have any big questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Just drop a comment or what have you. And that's basically it, guys. It is really, really simple. It does take a little bit of getting used to jumping between styles and changing that kind of stuff. But once you get it done, it's very easy. It stays very clean. It's to the industry standard, so it's less adjusted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It just really helps out. I find that it's been really helpful for me. Hopefully this is the first of many. Maybe I can do some more tutorials, maybe on character, on writing, on a couple other things. Until then, I'll talk to you guys.